Nintendo Creatures and Game Freak present Pokemon the Trading Card Game on the Game Boy Color. Yeah. This is a game I'm actually not all that familiar with. The game itself, the actual Pokemon card game, I didn't even know how to play it until about a few years ago. And by that time, I'd kind of lost interest in the whole Pokemon card dealio, but yes, of course. Blah blah blah, tutorial. I always just ask about one thing and then... Get, darn it, that was the last thing I wanted to do. Stop mashing the button. Yes. When when the actual card game started getting popular, kind of got a funny story, because I remember when I just got my first booster pack, and I had Zapdos in it. Now, there's always one rare card in each pack, and Zapdos was the one I got. I think Zapdos is always holographic, if I'm not mistaken. Oh crap, I wasn't paying attention, but I'm pretty sure he told me to put Goldeen. Too busy telling my story. So I just got Zapdos in my first booster pack. God darn it. I have to be able to talk while playing the tutorial. The thing is, I didn't know who else actually knew how to play the game. So when I got my first booster pack, my neighbor behind me, I guess he'd been collecting for a while. And so he seriously played me, and I had no idea until much later, because what he did, he suckered me into trading a Magnemite and a Voltorb for my Zapdos. See, the cogs weren't turning in my head then, and I was like, ooh, 2 cards for 1? And plus I thought Voltorb and Magnemite looked cool, so I went ahead and did it, traded away one of the rarest cards just for 2 ones that you could find, and I mean, I didn't know about that until later. But yeah, he seriously suckered me, and I fell for it. I can't remember if he said psychic or whatever. Doesn't matter. Oh, you... Okay, so it was psychic. I wish I was paying attention to the tutorial. But anyway, fast forward a few years, by that time I was really into collecting the cards. I didn't even know how to play the actual game. I was just collecting the cards basically. And guess what the last card I needed for my collection was? I didn't really care about the Johto cards at that time. They'd just come out. Or like the trainer cards, like Sabrina's Alakazam or whatever. There were so many variations. But so anyway, I didn't really collect those. I was mainly collecting the first couple of editions that came out. And as my luck would have it, I had 149 out of 150, plus the Mew from the first movie, plus the promo Mew, of course. And lo and behold, the last card I needed was a Zapdos. Now the thing is, I have a Zapdos, but it's that second edition that came out much later, which that doesn't do it for me. That's the only second edition card I have that's basically needed for my deck. I got quite a few holographics actually. My most prized card of all, easily. I was still new to the collecting thing. I didn't have a case for my cards. I just had them all in one big stack that I carried around with me. And I was up north visiting my cousin, who lives about 2 hours from here. And we went to this little, like... We went to this, like... It wasn't a pawn shop, but it was just like a little store, like a general store kind of thing. And I got my prized first edition holographic Clefable there. If I get a Clefable in this game, I'm gonna use it. But yeah, that gives me an idea. Maybe sometime in the course of these videos, I'll actually bust out my card book and show you guys. That gives me an idea. And yeah, it wasn't until much later that I actually learned. I had all the cards, and you know, I had cases full of all the extra cards that I didn't need, like all the common ones that I collected a million copies of. But I just I didn't. It looked simple, but I didn't actually know how to play the game. And by the time I learned how to play, everybody else I knew was just, they grew out of it. They were actually into Yu-Gi-Oh! At the time, which is okay, but I don't know. Yu-Gi-Oh! Makes up so much rules. I never collected Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards, but Whoops. And I actually saw this game in stores. Like, by the time this... I had, you know, silver, gold, whatever was out at the time, but... I always saw this game, and I didn't know how to play it, so I thought I'd be terrible at it. Or something. Like, I guess I didn't realize back then that they'd actually have a tutorial in the beginning telling you how to play. But anyway, that's just the tutorial, so... Now, what deck should I go with? I usually go with a fire deck, honestly. Because it's cool, but... Well, darn it. We'll go with a grass deck this time. Why not? Alright, this is part 1 of Let's Play Pokemon the Trading Card Game. Tune in next time for part 2 where we actually play and take on some new trainers and such. See you next time.